Alright, welcome back guys, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Vision here, Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be doing my Season 2 recap of Season 2 of the 100, leading up to the Season 5 premiere next week. Now if the 100 is something you're interested in, something you know my thoughts on, see my reviews, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon, that way you don't miss any future videos on the 100 moving forward. Now let's begin. So when we start Season 2 off, we meet back up with Clark, who is in Mount Weather, being kind of quarantined in an empty room. She ends up breaking out of that room by holding someone hostage and is reunited with Jasper, Monty, Miller, and a bunch of other people from the dropship that were captured with them or brought there, depending on how you look at it. At first, she doesn't totally like these people. She doesn't totally trust them, while Jasper and Monty have fully trust them, and Jasper has even fallen for one of the members of Mount Weather, and Clark doesn't totally trust them. She thinks they're up to something, so she decides to break out and try to get back to the ground and meet back up with Bellamy, Finn, and the rest of them that were left behind, because a lot of them did not make it. And she meets their leader, Dante Lawless, who is the president, and even though he seems nice, like I said, she doesn't totally trust him. So she decides to figure out a way out, and she decides to break out. And while she's breaking out, she finds out a dark secret. And it's revealed that these Mount Weather people have to stay in the mountain due to not being able to live in the high radiation Earth. And whenever someone is exposed to radiation, they will either die or they have to get blood transfusions from grounders. So the Mount Weather people have a whole room filled with captured grounders that they use to pretty much to donate their blood to the mountain men and give them their blood so that they can live. And they're just pretty much draining these grounders empty of their blood and killing them so that the mountain men can survive. So Clark finds these people, and she finds Anya, who was captured with them, and the two of them escape and make their way back to the dropship or to the new camp that the survivors from the Ark have set up. And on their way, once they reach there, Anya ends up killed, and Clark is reunited with her mom. Well, at the same time as Clark's story, we got Bellamy and Finn's story, and it's revealed that Bellamy and Finn both survived the ring of fire that was caused when they started the rockets on the dropship. Finn has been captured by one of the grounders that attacked Tristan. Bellamy and two red shirt grounders, Monroe and Sterling, try to go out and rescue them, but they fail, and before they are killed, Kane and the members from the Ark show up and rescue them. At that point, Bellamy and Finn bring them back to the dropship, where they find a very wounded Raven near death. Abby saves her life, however, due to where the bullet hit her spine, she kind of has issues with her leg from this point on, and she kind of becomes sidelined, in my opinion, in this season. She plays vital roles in smaller storylines, but she's not as big as she was in the first season in major plot lines regarding the story. But from that point on, Bellamy and Murphy get into a fight due to what happened to Raven at the end of last season. They are detained, and they end up escaping, and Bellamy, Murphy, and Raven head out with Monroe and Sterling to go find Clark and the rest of the delinquents, because at this point in the story, Clark has not returned from Mount Weather. As I mentioned earlier, she's still there, so they go out and find her, and at this point, Finn has begun suffering from PTSD, and him and Murphy end up in a grounder village, and due to his PTSD, Finn kind of massacres about 20 grounders in a fit of rage, and he is slowly calmed down when Bellamy shows up, who has found Clark, and they end up calming Finn down, and then at that point they go back and kind of plan a way to rescue the rest of the delinquents that are still at Mount Weather. At the same time as Clark and Bellamy's story, you got Octavia and Lincoln. Now, if you remember at the end of Season 1, Octavia was injured and Lincoln took her to get healed. However, due to him helping the Sky people, he has been branded a traitor by the Grounders, and he is taken captured. However, he sends a healer to help Octavia. However, after healing her, Octavia takes the healer captive and decides to trade the healer for Octavia. However, during the trade negotiations, Reapers attack them, and Octavia is separated from Lincoln as the Reapers capture and take Lincoln away. Now, we later find out in Lincoln's story that the Reapers are actually created by Mount Weather. When they capture the Grounders, they either send them in to be harvested for their blood and sent for transfusion, or they're given this drug that kind of turns them into these Reapers, and that's what happens to Lincoln. He's captured by the Reapers, and he is given the drug and turned into a Reaper. And the rest of the first half of the season is Octavia trying to figure out how to rescue Lincoln and bring him back to reality, because the Reaper drug does stuff to your brain, and it pretty much turns you into a savage animal, like an animalistic primal kind of person. Like, it takes away your humanity and just turns you into a primal animal kind of person. At this point, most of our heroes are reunited, except for Jasper and Monty, who are still on Mount Weather. And at this point, with the group reunited, they start doing recon on Mount Weather, and they find out that the acid fog, which we saw in Season 1, is a result of the Mountain Men as a way to kind of protect their territory and keep people away from the mountain. During this time, the Sky People end up in a scuffle with some Reapers, and they find Lincoln, and Clark finds a way to stop the Reaper drug and turn Reapers back into regular people using Lincoln, and she thinks she can use this as a bargaining chip to stop the Grounders from starting a war, because at this point in the story, we finally meet the Grounder commander, Alexa, who is planning to start a war with the Sky People and tells them that she's going to march on their camp. She accepts the idea to turn Reapers into men as like a bargaining chip. However, she says that their peace treaty won't fully begin until they hand over Finn, and he is punished for his crimes of killing those Grounders earlier in the season. At first, Clark tries to hide Finn and bargain and try to find a way to reach peace another way. However, Finn finally at the end of it comes to decide to accept his fate and hands himself over to the Grounders to be punished, and Clark goes over to say goodbye and ends up mercy killing him to save him from a horrible death that the Grounders had planned for him. And it kind of also leaves a scuffle, not like a scuffle, but like a rift between Clark and Raven due to them being in a love triangle with Finn. But all in all, by the end of the first half of Season 2, the Grounders and Sky People end up in a peace treaty and working together to free not just the Sky People from the mountain, but also the captured Grounders that are being used for blood transfusion to the Mountain Men. Now, following Finn's death, the Grounders and Sky People end up making an alliance and working together in training, and they begin making a plan to get the delinquents and the Grounders out of Mount Weather. However, they soon realize they need to accelerate their plan when they find out that the Grounders are using the delinquents' bone marrow to make themselves survive on the ground, and one of the doctors, Lorelei Singh, is the one pioneering the whole taking the delinquents' bone marrow and using it in the Mountain Men's own system to make themselves survive. So in response to that, the group sends in Bellamy as a mole to try to find out, to try to stop them and try to shut off the acid fog so that they can get close enough to the mountain to mount an attack. And the group slowly makes plans to, after he does that, how to attack. Meanwhile, inside the mountain, things accelerate quicker as Harper and Monty are the first two to be fully captured by the mountain and taken to have their bone marrow extracted. And they end up being rescued by Cage Wallace's father, Dante Wallace, and we soon realize that Dante is the good guy, and Cage is the one helping Lorelei Singh, and Cage stages a coup and overthrows his father as a leader so that he can lead his people to the ground. Meanwhile, at the same time outside, you got Octavia and Clark, who are mounting relationships both with Indra, with Octavia, who is taking Octavia as her second in command and training her to be more like a grounder. And you got Clark and Lexa, who form a budding kind of relationship together as they begin planning to attack the mountain. So the Sky People and Grounders United Armies attack the mountain, and however, during the attack, the Mountain Men make a deal with Alexa to release all the Grounders, but she has to retreat. She takes the deal. Since the Mountain Men don't need the Grounders board anymore, they release them, and Alexa retreats, leaving Clark alone to fight. However, Clark decides to go in and try to figure out a way to rescue the rest of her people herself. However, she's unaware that her mom, Kane, and a bunch of other Sky people who had come to help her have been captured. And as Clark is trying to contemplate what to do, the Sky people are slowly being drained of their bone marrow. Raven is taken of her bone marrow after she was captured by them too. And Clark decides to kill Dante Wallace Cage's father to try to make him stop. However, that just angers him more, and he, in revenge, uses Abby for her bone marrow, and Clark is left with no other choice but to irradiate the entire mountain and bring in all the radiation from outside and bring it into the mountain through the air ducts, which kills all of the mountain men, including some people that were helping the delinquents, and they all end up dying. Cage escapes, but is killed by Lincoln, who gets revenge on him because Cage was the one who was doing the Reaper tests, and he kills Cage as revenge. After that, Clark and the rest of the group return home and are reunited with the rest of the people at Arcadia, which is the name of the Sky People's camp once they landed on the ground. And at that point, Clark leaves the group and heads out to live on her own because she can't live with what she did at the mountain. Last, we got Jaha's story. Now, Jaha did make it to the ground. He stayed behind on the Ark originally, but he made it down on an old warhead, and he ends up on a journey with Murphy in the second half of the season to find a place called the City of Light, which he believes is a safe place where they can all live. And he goes there to try to find that place where he can bring the rest of the Sky people there where they can be safe and don't have to fight this war. And he ends up traveling through the desert and across the ocean and going on this big journey with Murphy to find the City of Light. Murphy ends up injured when they reach this island, and he goes off to find help and ends up running into this person, Allie, who sets up the new start to season 3, she is the person from the City of Light, and she has been waiting for Jaha and has plans for him to work with her in the City of Light in a new kind of alternate reality kind of Matrix world. And that is where we leave off in season 2, leading into season 3. So yeah, guys, that's my recap of season 2 of the 100. Stay tuned. Season 3 and 4 recaps of the 100 will be coming soon, leading up to the season 5 premiere of the 100 next Tuesday. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and share it. Don't forget to subscribe down below and hit the bell icon. That way you don't miss any future videos on the 100 moving forward. This has been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I will see you next time.